This is Grandpa Barry with today's almost heartwarming story. Today's story, The Puppy Who Opened a Boy's Silent World. The Puppy Who Opened a Boy's Silent World. Little Larry Wilson looked for all the world like a normal boy, but he wasn't. Larry had autism, a disorder that left him silent. Larry never spoke. He never played with other children, and he never smiled. His parents took him to the finest specialists in the nation, but none could reach Larry. When they would call his name, he wouldn't respond. When they would try to pick him up, he would go limp. No one was able to get through to Larry, and his parents spent many sleepless nights worrying about what his later life would be like. Things looked hopeless. One day, the Wilson family was visiting a shopping mall. It was adoption day for pets from the local shelter, and a dozen dogs were resting in cages. Little Larry walked over to a cage that held a tiny puppy. He stared at the puppy for what seemed like an hour. Then, for the first time in his life, he smiled. The Wilsons decided to adopt the puppy, which they called Buddy. From the minute they brought the little dog home, Larry and Buddy were inseparable. Buddy would sit in Larry's lap as the boy petted him. Larry would throw a tennis ball and Buddy would chase it and bring it back to his friend. Not long after, Larry, at the age of 4, would finally say his first word, Buddy. His parents cried. Soon, Larry and Buddy began to play outside in the backyard. They would play for hours, chasing each other, smelling the flowers, kicking a ball. Larry's smiles became more and more frequent. And then something amazing happened. One day at the dinner table, out of the blue, Larry turned to his parents and said, I love my dog, Buddy. A complete sentence from a boy who had never uttered one before. The tears really flowed in the Wilson house that night. As the months passed, both dog and boy were getting bigger and stronger. Then it happened. While chasing a ball, Buddy leaped over the small backyard fence and darted into the street. Larry followed closely behind. A car roared towards them. Fortunately, the car missed Buddy, but not Larry. It plowed into the little autistic boy, flinging him into the air in the middle of the street. And though Larry was seriously hurt, he was still alive. Buddy rushed over at the same time as the Wilsons. While the three of them crouched over Larry, a truck came up and ran over all of them. The moral of the story. If you see someone hurt in the street, be careful. Move them to the sidewalk, at least.